The senseless tragedy in Uvalde is fueling advocacy groups to work harder on their mission, reduce gun violence in our communities.
For years, they work with state legislators to create laws for gun safety. They feel they still have much more to do. Both Grandmothers Against Gun Violence and Moms Demand Action are national groups that have local chapters trying to advocate for better gun laws. They've helped pass laws over the years in Washington state, like prohibiting high-capacity magazines or not allowing firearms in public gatherings, like board meetings and at public protests. One grandmother tells us she thought they were on the right path until the shooting in Texas.
I actually cried. I could cry right now just thinking about it. And because I thought, what is wrong with our country that people have to have guns, knowing that guns can kill? And it was just a heartbreak.
As these groups continue to work with lawmakers, they say they're also finding other ways to push the gun violence prevention movement because they feel they can no longer solely rely on legislative solutions.
Tonight, the top school leader in Washington asking gun owners to look at themselves and ask if they really need a firearm inside their home. That is what State Superintendent Chris Reykdal wants people to focus on rather than the politics. New at 6 tonight, Eleni Dow explains the reason behind that sentiment.
In a one-on-one with Superintendent Reykdal, he tells me everyone is debating the politics of gun regulation when he says there's one thing people can do right now instead of waiting for more laws to pass. That's to ask yourself if you really need a gun in the home and what can you do to make sure a child doesn't have access to it. Superintendent Chris Reykdal tells me he believes reasonable legal gun owners are responsible for the most part. However, he feels there's a much bigger risk in carrying a firearm in a home, thinking it's possible for it to get stolen or get in the hands of a kid. While many conversations continue about what could be done to prevent another school shooting, Reykdal tells me he doesn't believe having teachers armed could help avoid these tragedies.
There's no way that you're going to ask a fourth grade teacher to suddenly respond and take down an active shooter with any reasonable expectation that's going to happen well. What will happen, though, is those guns will sit in schools and get used and abused and unfortunately stolen in exponential ways compared to the probability of stopping an active shooter.
Reykdal believes schools are prepared for what he says are very rare situations. These measures include staff getting trained in crisis situations, expanded mental health for kids, and physically have tried and made schools more secure with fewer entrances. To think about the times we live in right now, to have to think about school safety and shootings, he says, is unimaginable. In studio, Eleni Dow, 4 News Now.